Mystery.
From Oatland Wildlife Center, here with another edition of FOOVentures.
Yeah.
We had a last minute change, didn't we, Mystery?
Yeah, and the weather is not cooperating, so we had it all set up to go out and visit our vultures today, our two black vultures. Instead, we are currently rained out. It's a little bit of storm more than a rain.
We can handle rain.
We were a little worried that there would be a little too much wind noise. It got really windy out. So we're going to visit our terrapins instead, which are turtles, and we've done an episode about turtles, but it's really important. We have a big PSA today about our terrapin turtles because there's a big holiday coming up, and it means a lot of travel, and terrapins do not mix, especially car travel.
Yeah, and it's like you said, Memorial Weekend, and a lot of people like to go to the beach, and they like to go to this animal's habitat. So we're going to really help you understand what you can do to support them in anytime actually, that you're out driving the vehicle.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about Terrapin.
Yeah, terrapin turtle.
Yeah, Diamondback Terrapin.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see the little guys in here, little babies.
Yeah, we'll get a little close-up on both of them. We have two here. These Diamondback Terrapins are really amazing. They have a great conservation success story in that they are individuals that came from eggs that were hatched out at local universities through a project with the Marine Science Center out on Tybee, through a project with our local universities. I think Georgia Southern is involved, which is Armstrong, which is none, but we were able to get those genetics, get the babies out and hatch them out, and then we raise them up for about maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years, depending on their size, and then release them back into the marsh. So they go back out in the marsh and get to repopulate, which is a good thing.
Good morning, Terrapin morning to you too, Lucy and Bella. It's great to have you joining us today. Terrapin turtle tortoise, question mark.
Yeah.
Yes. All are turtles.
Yeah. So all terrapins are turtles, but not all terrapins are tortoises, and tortoises aren't terrapins. No.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. We kind of group turtles into how they're adapted in their habitat that they live in. So these guys are adapted to live in salt marshes, and they will live throughout our salt marshes in the southeast along the Georgia coast.
Yeah, actually, they can be found anywhere from Cape Cod all the way down to Florida.
Yeah.
Pretty broad in salt marshes.
Yeah.
Pretty broad range, big range there. Terrapin. So somebody wants to know, why are they called Diamondback? Diamondback. Show them this. You can get that real close.
So Diamondback Terrapin, because of their really ornate shells and their basically the patterning that's really very individualistic. You can actually tell a terrapin by its pattern on its back. No two are alike. The spots around their head and face also look that way. So they're really these kind of bluish, greenish turtles that pop out. And they're little diamonds in the rough. They're amazing.
Hi, Abby. You guys say hi real quick. How you doing? Yes. And actually, the name, my understanding, is a commercial name.
Yeah.
Because we used to eat them.
Yeah.
I heard that. We won't say that too loud. This animal was almost brought to extinction because of the food industry back in the turn of the century. It was a big staple for local coastal residents to eat. It's a sweet meat, supposedly. I've never eaten them. They're not endangered. They are a species of concern.
Yeah. Which means that their population is threatened through lots of different reasons, but we'll get into those a little bit later.
Yeah. Betsy, do they ever go out to sea? Not really, no.
The farthest I've seen one out to sea is I was seining on the south end of Tybee, and we caught one in the seine net once. So that would be, right along the Back River area, kind of where the marsh dumps out. They get pushed out maybe, and then they'll wait until its tide switches and they'll swim back in.
Yeah.
But that's pretty rare. They're gonna be really good swimmers, and they're gonna be hanging out basically in areas where they're not gonna get pushed around by the tide too much.
Dr. Mailer. Hi, Dr. Mailer.
Yeah.
You can still eat them in Louisiana?
Yeah, so there is this really interesting thing where turtles are seen as a harvestable animal, and in some states you can still harvest terrapins. In Georgia, you can harvest a lot of our freshwater species to eat, but terrapins is off the list. We protect our turtles.
And when I say commercial name, I guess my understanding is that terrapin is very fish sounding. So instead of saying I'm eating turtle soup, you would say terrapin soup, and it makes you not like go turtle. You'd think, oh, a fish, turtle. Hi, Crystal. Finn wants to know, what are the bumps on their shells?
I think Finn means these bumps up here. And these are basically a ridge. We assume that these bumps are probably for basically how they move through the water. So the water goes around them. It can help them to move the water, maybe more hydrodynamic. If you've got a flat surface a lot of times and you have ridges, it'll create turbulence.
Oh, yeah.
So this is actually going to break up that turbulence and streamline them a little bit more. So,
are those like vertebrae?
Yeah, and they're also the vertebral kind of columns. If you think about your vertebrae on your back, the little points that come off your spine, if you look inside, you can actually see those vertebrae that attach, and the ribs are fused to create the top of the shell. So a turtle cannot get out of its shell to try to escape a predator.
Only in cartoons.
Only in cartoons.
Ava's watching.
Oh, and Miss
Crystal.
Crystal.
And
So,
Marsha, Mom.
so there's lots of probably the daycare poets probably watching too. So
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Daniel wants to know, what are their predators, and Ari wants to know, how long do they live? So let's see.
Oh man.
So if you are preyed on, you don't live very long.
Yeah.
So Daniel, their predators are number one humans.
Yeah.
I would say
Yeah.
number one is humans.
Yeah, and things that consume them, anything from a wading bird when they're tiny,
Yeah,
you know,
little size.
little size, like quarter size when they hatch out, all the way up to a bull shark.
Wood storks,
Wood storks,
alligators.
alligators. They have lots of predators.
Yeah.
A lot of predators.
Yeah.
Fish, lots of fish. You will eat them.
And as far as their longevity, I mean, I think I read about terrapin being 16 years.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah,
It's a
they can live
a
into their
wild
teens.
one.
Yeah.
That was a wild one.
Yeah.
That was the longest known wild one. So
Oh,
that's kind of
man.
on the high end. Maureen wants to know, how long can they stay underwater? Well, if they're in a crab pot, not as long as it takes you to check your crab pot, so they
Yeah.
drown in your crab pots. So if you're a crabber, be really, really careful and check often. Yeah, crab traps were the number one cause of mortality, but I would say car strike might be getting up there.
Yeah.
You consider all the eggs that are getting killed too.
Yeah, there's this really amazing kind of invention. It's kind of crazy. It took them so long to figure it out, but they figured out they could put a hole inside of the crab trap called a TED, turtle excluder device,
Yeah.
and basically lets the terrapin out,
Oh.
and it keeps the blue crab in.
We have a bunch.
Yeah, we do.
If you are a crabber, or you have your own little crab trap, when we open up, come and see us and we'll give you a TED door, a TED trap.
And TEDs are really interesting. They're usually fairly small, and they don't decrease your catch of blue crab, but they do increase the likelihood that a terrapin that comes in will be able to get back out.
Yeah. Hi Atticus and hi Audrey. Thanks for joining us today. Why do we have to keep the lights off? Car lights, beach lights, mostly for sea turtles.
Yeah, that's for sea turtles mostly.
Yeah. But that is a really good point. This is the time of year where I get so annoyed because I like to do night walks on the beach when I just see tons of tourists with flashlights out on the beach.
Yeah.
A flashlight is like a moonbeam, right? And so when you have your moonbeam constantly on, then if there are hatchling turtles, they're going to crawl to that. They're not going to crawl instinctively to the moonlight on the water. So that's why you want your lights off, you want your street lights off, your porch lights off. If you have to use a flashlight, use the red beam. Use red color. They don't see that.
Yeah, it can just be really disorienting for babies and for adults as well.
Yeah. So Audrey and Kayla, what do you eat in their natural habitat? I'm going to combine them together with the question about, do they ever go out to sea? So if we think about what their native food is, they're not going to find it out to sea. They're going to look for shrimp. Well, they can find them out to sea, but they want to be in the marshes. They want to have the grasses. They're eating snails, shrimp, small fish, crustaceans.
I love fiddler crabs.
Little fiddler crabs is their delicacy. It's the most divine find
nom nom nom.
nom nom for them. And so, yes, you're going to find in anywhere where you're going to find all those things, places where they can hide, where they can crawl out of the water when it gets, maybe they need to bask in the sun, or there's a predator coming after them, they can get out of the water. So they like to be in the marshes, in our creeks, tidal creeks. Yeah, let's see. Hi, if you found a dead alligator snapper, is it illegal? Is it legal to keep the shell and the skull?
Yeah, so as far as I'm understanding, there's not alligator snappers in Chatham County. So if you're from Chatham County, probably isn't an alligator, probably is a common. But still, we don't advise anyone to keep dead specimens. Depending on where they fall, it could be legal or illegal. If it's a thing you can harvest legally, like some of our aquatic turtles, it is actually okay to keep those as specimens. Dead ones, not live ones, they're illegal to keep as pets. But if it's an alligator snapper, that is actually protected under the Endangered Species Act because their numbers are so low. So.
And sea turtles, illegal.
Illegal.
Do not have any piece or parts. You are walking on the beach and you find a sea turtle skull or any scoot or anything. It's illegal to have that. Again, same reason why birds are protected and the feathers are protected. It's because you can't prove where you got it from.
Yeah.
And so to protect the entire animal, they say don't have any part of it. So you got to know what the conservation status is of the animal that you have in your possession. You don't want to have anything endangered species.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where these questions are coming in order, so I'm just going to go through them. Atticus wants to know, what is the season for hatching? Ooh, so what is it now? It's the middle of May.
Yeah.
Could be starting now.
Yep.
They definitely came up or been laying in like April and May.
Yeah, it's really, really early season this year. Our warmer temperatures, our very mild winter led to earlier laying this year. And we definitely probably have hatchling terrapins out there right now. We know that there's lots of laying going on.
How many did you count dead on the road?
Yesterday I counted 15.
Why were they on the road?
D-O-R.
What's that?
Dead on the road.
Why are they DOR?
Because mamas want to lay their eggs in the highest ground possible.
No.
So that their high tides, when they come up, don't inundate the nest, because eggs are permeable and eggs can actually drown. The babies inside can drown because they're doing oxygen, they're doing gas transfer back and forth. And so what's really, really, really important is that we remember that the moms, when they come up to lay their eggs, they might say, oh, this side of the road is low, but the opposite side is higher, so I'm going to cross the road.
Yeah.
And we see tons and tons of car strikes. We have this really, really horrible, horrible issue of them getting struck by cars on accident, but also on purpose. So you have to slow down, try to avoid them. If it's safe, you have to pull off nearby to move them across the road in the direction that they're traveling.
Yes.
If you put them in the opposite direction, they'll just cross the road again. They're not going to be turned around just by human interaction.
Yeah, it's kind of sad this time of year. If you also try not to travel really close to somebody. Give yourself space, spread out your cars, because you might not see it. And there's a person going over one, and you might be the one to strike it. And I would feel terrible if that were me. Carol in Scotland.
Yeah, that might be.
You're the winner.
Farthest ever. That's awesome.
Yay.
And Robbie in Ohio, we appreciate you tuning in.
Scotland? I don't know. Robbie in Ohio? I don't know. Yeah. So we have questions. So we're going to go from here to here, probably?
Yeah.
Marsha, your mom, I think, wants to hibernate. Brewmate.
Brewmate, yeah. Brewmate is the word for reptiles. These guys don't really do that too much. If we get a cold winter, little time. Yeah, I put some food out and they grabbed it. They do go out down in the mud, and they'll kind of hang out in the mud, slow down their body systems, wait until we pop up our temperatures a little bit.
Yeah. Amelia wants to know, do they have teeth?
And Pops
is that
is tuning in, skipping out on work.
So Amelia, I have a little skull here. Eric brought it in, and they don't have teeth. You can see that they have a beak,
like
a bird beak, and they might have little, what do you call it, lamellations or striations on the edges of it, just to kind of give it texture to hold on to, the shell of a shrimp or exoskeleton of a shrimp. So yeah, there's a mouth of a turtle right there. of a Diamondback Terrapin, actually, too. So
Yeah,
no teeth.
that's an adult. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
females do get a bit larger than males. That's typical with a lot of reptiles, especially turtles, because the females have to carry those eggs, and because they're carrying them for a long time before they deposit them in the sand, they need to have that extra space for all those eggs. Clutch size, like what, 10 eggs? I think 10 to 12 eggs.
Yeah. Not a lot. Not like a sea turtle, right?
Not like a sea
sea turtle up to 100.
Hundreds,
Your
yeah.
daddy's watching, Mr.
Yeah.
Swanson. Hi,
Yeah,
Greg
he's
Swanson.
getting out of work.
Stormy wants to know, do they all have different shell patterns?
Yeah, different shell patterns and then different
Like
freckles on their head too. So he's
Yeah.
gonna tuck his head in probably, but you can actually see the prints on the side. Those are all gonna be different as well. So you can compare this little guy.
And also different shades of darkness and lightness
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, sometimes we get some individuals that are very dark. And so much different in
And then you really,
texture and
you
size.
can't tell a boy versus a girl.
Nope.
We call that dimorphism. Two morphs, two different shapes, different sizes. There's not really a way to tell. You have to tell who lays the eggs.
Yep.
That's how you know. Or you go inside and look.
Yeah, a lot of times when we see the ones hit on the road, those will be the individuals that are female. We kind of think that they're female.
Yeah.
But a lot of times what we'll do is we'll bring them into the vet office, and Dr. Mailer will take an x-ray of them to see if they have eggs inside still. A lot of times if they're retaining eggs, we might be able to remove those eggs and then have them
Hatch them.
incubated and hatch them out.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of success stories in doing that, and that's one of the reasons why their population isn't extremely declining here in Chatham County, because otherwise there would just be a lot of mortality during breeding season, which is the worst time to have
Is
a
that
lot of
Audrey
mortality.
Brosnan asking, do the moms take care of the babies? Is that your pattern? Yes. Do they take care of the babies?
No, not like males.
No. They just say, lay the eggs and say,
See
have
ya.
a good life.
Yeah.
Hope I recognize you someday, but maybe they don't even think that. Yeah, they're not a good, they're not alligators, that's for sure.
No.
Alligators are good mothers. But they are good mothers in that they make that journey up through a dangerous highway to lay their eggs.
Yeah.
That's a good mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys are asking such excellent questions, and really, this was a no-brainer for our. I don't know if you can see online. Eric's giving them pieces of shrimp, and they're chomping them down whole, kind of throwing them back in their mouth. Yeah. So send us some hearts if you look out for turtles on the road. If you love them and you're gonna, or what is the bumper sticker? Fertile turtles.
Fertile turtles on the move.
Fertile turtles on the move. You can get bumper stickers that say that.
Yeah, and so it's really important too to remember that those individuals that are hit on the road represent adults, females that are took a long time to get to that size. So these guys are actually 2 years old now, and so because they're 2 years old, they're going to take another probably 3 or 4 years to become mature adults and be able to produce young. And so if you have a rough time growing up, because a lot of things are eating you, and then when you get to be an adult, you get hit by cars and stuck in crab pots, that's problematic.
Oh yeah, let's talk about delayed hatching.
Oh yeah, that's super cool, yeah.
They can actually, usually it's about like 62 days of incubation, but if the weather's not right or the conditions in the world aren't right, pandemic, don't hatch. They won't hatch. They'll kind of like, I don't know if they actually stop and go development. Do you know about that, Eric?
Yeah, I think they kind of halt it. They go into that.
It's like a brumation while they're
incubating. Yeah.
Yeah, so cool. So you might have a female lay eggs and you don't see anything hatch out of them that year, but don't dig them up and think it's done because it might take them till the next season or later on for them to hatch out.
Yeah.
So that's kind of crazy.
Females also have the ability to store long periods of time as well. So really cool kind of how they adapted to this really changing influx coastal environment.
Yeah. Lucy, good question. Do they return to the same nesting site?
Yeah. I mean, the same general site. They're not as probably specific as maybe a sea turtle would be, in that they travel thousands of miles and then end up on the same beach they were born from. But they do use the same general area for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Diurnal.
Diurnal.
a good word. Daytime animals. They're active. The most active doesn't mean they're not active at night. It just means that most of their life habits are being done in the daytime. And that makes a lot of sense because they have to bask in the sun and warm up and to be active, right? So nighttime, you're not, unless it's like a hot summer night, you might see one swimming around and diving under the water. Yeah. You know, you can find them if you're a paddler, you go out on a kayak, just look for the little tiny heads sticking up on the edges of the rivers and creeks. And they pop down really quickly. But you can definitely see them out there. There are a lot of them.
Yeah, and I actually like to look for them in the marsh, in the kind of the high marsh section. The little young ones will actually go usually around big clumps of black needle rush, so the big spiky grasses, or they'll go near mussels, and they'll kind of hang out in those, a nice solid spot where they can grab onto when the water's moving through there. But when they're very young, they don't leave the marsh mud a lot. When they get to be bigger adults, so it's safer for them to be out in the water. They kind of move out of that predator zone where they're getting eaten by lots of fish, and then they get big enough, they can kind of free swim out. And that's why they have those flattened body and these amazing, I think this is my favorite thing about terrapins, these amazing feet.
They're so cute.
So they have the coolest little back feet, and then when you have those back feet that are flattened out, and this guy is not cooperating, you can actually see their nails that they used to dig with, and you can see that they're nice and flat and webbed for pushing water. There we go.
Yeah, I guess one way you could tell the gender is tail length a lot of time with turtles.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, because the tail, you know, has a job to do. Or it has, the males have a longer tail.
And they're very strong. You can imagine how strong they are pushing.
Yeah. It's so cute. They're like, they remind me of like little puppy dogs, don't you?
Yeah.
Little puppy dogs of the marsh.
Yeah. They're kind of always just moving around.
But here at Oatland, they're so, they don't imprint. I wouldn't call it imprinting. You can release them into the wild and they won't depend on a human being. But when you feed them, they definitely are, they know food's coming and they're interested in what you have. So you can like use your finger. You may have done this at Oatland before, and you can, they'll follow your finger around.
Yeah.
It's because they're like associating food coming with that. So.
Yeah, and they really have an extremely good sense of smell too. So their sense of smell is really, really good, and so they can smell lots of things in the water. So they'll actually eat carrion. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. You don't think about it.
Wait, do they know what carrion is?
They'll eat carrion.
We'll give you that word. Another good
word.
Carrion.
They are right.
Yeah, that's right, Eric.
On go spelling.
He's good at spelling. Carry on. Marcia, you did a good job teaching your boy.
And that's dead and decaying plants. No. Animals. Always animals. Carrion is dead animals. And carrion is something we're gonna talk about a lot with vultures.
Carrion feeders.
But we didn't get to today. But we'll probably try to save that maybe for Friday.
They'll just walk all over each other.
Yeah.
Can you guys see that in there?
They don't have their
number one priority, you should be on them. Who cares about us?
Yeah, they don't have really I guess a lot of boundaries is a good way to say it. They're just always on top of each other.
Yeah.
They don't keep 6 feet safe.
No.
They're just like rumble tumble.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna put another piece of food in there for them. You guys can watch.
And what are you feeding them, Mystery?
These are just little tiny shrimp chunks.
Audrey wants to know, have you ever had your finger bitten? You could. If
not
you don't
by
get your
these
finger,
guys.
If you don't get your finger out of the way. But it's not, there's no teeth in there.
Yeah, I've only been bitten by one turtle, I think.
There goes nom nom.
Nope, 2. That was a lie.
As long as it's not a snapping turtle. You've been bitten by Of course you are, Mr. Eric. Mystery.
So he just found it with his nose. He didn't feel it, didn't see it, found it with his nose.
See this one? He's got some chomps.
Yeah, and we do apologize. We can't control their number 2s, and so as soon as we put them in the water, they number 2'd.
I was like, what do you mean number 2? Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay. That's where they live.
Yeah, it's part of it.
Do you not want this, bud?
All right, so we just want to reiterate out there that this is turtle nesting season. Coming up out of the marshes up to the highland, and that's why you're going to see a lot of them crashed on the road. We can avoid that by simply slowing down, giving space between cars, and if you see a turtle on the road trying to cross the road, about to be in a dangerous situation, please do not make a dangerous situation for yourself.
Yeah.
You, if you can pull over safely, please do. But if you can't, it's just we don't want your mortality too.
Yeah.
So, but you can definitely help them if you're out by yourself. Get across, do their business, and then they'll go back into the marsh. Who knows which side they'll go back to? They might go back across the road again.
Yeah, and we talk a lot about the Tybee Causeway because that's kind of the main place we see them, but any marsh area can have a terrapin, so any area where you see a tidal creek, where you cross over a bridge, there can be terrapins there too, so keep your eyes out and be aware, and we appreciate you caring.
And remember too, if you are a crab, if you have a family crab pot, come visit us when we're open again, and call ahead so we can get them out for you. But we do have those little TED excluders, turtle excluder devices. That's kind of redundant. TED excluder.
Turtle.
A turtle excluder device.
Yeah.
This is a little plastic door thing that you pop into the the door hatch, right?
You can put it on the top or the bottom. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. And it's just the way that if they do go in, they're going to go in your crab pot, right? Because they smell your bait. They're going to go in there, and they're not going to know how to get out, and they will drown.
They gotta breathe air.
They gotta come up and breathe air. So get a TED device, put it on your crab trap.
We'll see how close I can get.
Causeway to the Thunderbolt Bridge for sure. Yep.
Look at the little nostrils.
Anywhere where you're crossing marsh, or going over marsh, be alert. And you know what? It's not just the Diamondback Terrapin. The sliders, all the turtles, snapping turtles, they're all coming up to find that high ground right now. So just go slow. Turtles on the road.
Yep.
That's my Go for Tortoise song too.
Yep.
Go slow. Turtles on the road.
Yeah.
And then trash. Oh, let's talk about plastic trash.
Oh my gosh.
So the beaches are getting littered with trash, friends. And even if it wasn't yours, you know what you could do that would be so nice? Pick up trash when you're at the beach.
Bring a bag.
Yeah. Don't bring a plastic bag.
You can bring a bucket. That's what I usually bring.
A bucket's great. Fun activity. If you're going to go with your family to the beach, you can turn it into an environmental awareness activity and go out and pick up trash. Wash your hands after you touch. People are throwing cigarette butts and things like that. Oh, it's terrible.
Yep.
Make sure you wash your hands, wear gloves.
Yep.
Memorial Day reminders.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, guys.
What?
Friday is something special.
Wow. Okay, so if this is your first episode, thumbs up.
Oh yeah. Is there new? I just assume everybody's been watching us forever.
Okay, if there's no new people there, and if you haven't seen all of them, on Friday it will be our 20th episode of FOOVentures.
Wow.
So much wildlife learning out there to do.
It's super, super exciting for us.
Yeah, so and Friday we're going to go to the habitat of the Diamondback Terrapin. Just kind of a continuation of this theme, but we're going to talk about all the little things like the invertebrates, the ones without backbones that you can see on the dock.
The life of the dock,
Yeah, sessile organisms, things that attach. They
They
call it a fouling community because that's what boaters might call it. I don't think it's foul. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I've never seen a duck at our dock.
A duck at your dock?
Foul.
So let's have a celebration. You get it? Where's my shell?
Well, I said foul like foul.
Oh, like duck fowl.
Foul.
FOWL.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
We're bad. Sorry.
Okay, and our new doc, come join us on Friday. Tell all your friends.
Yeah.
20th episode. And if you haven't watched them all, catch up. Watch them on our YouTube channel. Where else? Channel
195.
195 Comcast. we're showing all kinds of fun things Oatland Island has been doing over this pandemic.
Yeah, and check us out on Friends of Oatland Island's Facebook page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Share with the world. Scotland knows now.
Yeah,
Right?
Scotland knows.
We got Scotland on board.
The island is way far away from our island.
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome island too.
Oh.
All right, thanks friends. We appreciate you joining us. We
Yeah.
love you and miss you.
Stay safe, all.